Hello, and welcome to the Speed Learning series, providing you quick insights into must-know features of ServiceNow's third-party risk management application. The Speed Learning session will enable you to understand how to initiate a due diligence workflow process from your for your third party and for your engagements. The agenda for this session is a quick walkthrough on understanding what is a due diligence, going through TPRM lifecycle, and initiating a third party or an engagement due diligence process, uh, followed by a quick demo. Here are the different personas that will be used in our today's session. Business user uh, with the SNC underscore internal role who can initiate a due diligence request from the employee center, and a third party manager role who can approve the request for further due diligence workflow to take place. The third-party manager will also be able to initiate due diligence process from the vendor workspace on behalf of any other users in the organization. Let us get a foundational understanding of what due diligence is. Right? So due diligence at its core is a comprehensive process of evaluating a third party and its engagement. Generally, due diligence is initiated before accepting any engagement for a third party, but also can be initiated in other scenarios, such as reassessing a third party or an engagement, or in cases of offboarding a third party or an engagement. So the primary goal of due diligence is to identify and thoroughly assess any potential risk that might be associated with a third party or an engagement to take necessary actionable steps to keep those risks in check. Now, why is this important? First and foremost, it's about risk assessment and mitigation. So by understanding the potential downsides, we can proactively put measures in place to prevent or minimize these impacts. The another vital reason is compliance, as many regulations and internal policies requires organizations to conduct thorough checks on their third party or vendor, or it could be partners, to ensure they are operating ethically and legally. Strategic alignment is also important. We want to ensure that the third parties we work with align with our values, goals, or and overall business strategy. So due diligence leads to better decision making by providing us with the facts and insights needed to choose the right third party and structure our engagements effectively for the future. To put this in perspective, due diligence is all about being proactive, responsible, and protecting our organization from potential harm while fostering successful and a sustainable partnership. So a typical third-party risk management lifecycle kick starts with onboarding process for a new or an existing third party or an engagement. That gets into determining the inherent risk of a third party with IRQ or tiering process and trigger relevant assessments. Further, by sending third party risk assessments to your potential third party contact or your or your engagement contacts to respond to, and then by reviewing the third party's response to generate actionable findings, if any, by creating issues and sharing it with relevant stakeholders for remediation process. Progressing further by reporting risks, those are identified during the complete process to various stakeholders, and finally getting into monitoring your third party for any unexpected events by scheduling periodic assessments and by the risk intelligence info through various external risk intelligence providing platforms. You can also retire an third party or an engagement through offboarding due diligence in case if you decide not to work anymore with your third party or in case of the contract nearing the end date. So as you can see, there are several key scenarios where due diligence request becomes necessary. Firstly, and perhaps the most commonly used, you'll need to request your due diligence when you are onboarding a new third party or an engagement. You may also need to reassess existing engagements periodically. This helps you ensure that the risks associated with your existing third parties haven't changed significantly over a period of time, right? So reassessing is also, you can reassess an engagement for its contract renewal as well. So a specific instance of reassessing an existing engagement if the contract is due for renewal. So before you commit to extending an agreement, it's vital to conduct due diligence to confirm that the third party continues to meet your company's expectations and is as per the agreement. And for offboarding, in certain situations, you may need to conduct a final check to ensure a smooth and secure transition, right? Address any leftover risks and ensure that data and accesses are properly handled during offboarding. And finally, you may not require any due diligence for offboarding for the low risk rated vendors or your third parties. All right, a quick demo we are getting into. Please note that we are using the third party risk management version that is 20.0. All right, so I have logged in as a business user who is having SNC underscore internal role. And from here, you can access the employee center. So once the employee center opens up, you can go to risk and compliance and request for the third party due diligence. So as we discussed earlier, you should be able to see, five various types of due diligence that any business user should be able to request for. The first one being onboarding a new engagement. So over here, you'll have to select a third party, if at all a third party is existing. And if you are, uh, you know, requesting for a due diligence on a new engagement with an existing third party. Else, you can always select if it is a new third party, you can always select third party is not listed and fill in the details of your third party information over here. Engagement information, I mean the relationship what you are getting into with your third party can be filled over here. You can select the types as to what sort of engagement this is all about, right? And then who should be responding the IRQ questionnaire, plus the details of your third party address, your engagement related address, and most importantly, your third party contacts. The other option over here is you can also reassess an existing engagement. And in this case, when you're reassessing the engagement, it means that you are doing it on an existing third party and an existing engagement. And that's the reason you should be able to pull out the detail of the third party on which you want to perform the reassessment for an engagement and select the type of engagement for that particular third party. Same options would remain same if you are going to reassess an existing engagement for a contract renewal, or in case of offboarding a third party. So once you fill in the data for all of the mandatory fields over here, you hit on submit and can further track the request by going into my request page. And this is where you should be able to see the requests as a business user as to what you have made in the past. Now let us log in as the third party administrator, sorry, third party manager, and approve one of the due diligence request which were earlier done by this user. So in this case, let us try to approve the engagement for consulting. So now I'm impersonating the third party manager, that is Adam Arrow. And over here, I would go to the vendor management workspace as a manager. I would land into the overview page, and then we'll go to the due diligence management workspace. In here, uh, I'll click on new request. And if you see, the ones which are empty are not yet been approved by the third party manager. And these are the ones which are saying the request type as onboard and engagement, which means that is either come from any of the users who have used employee portal. So let us click on one of them and see what are the details for it. So as you can see, this is requested by the business user. You can see what is the name of the third party over here. Go through all of the details, see what is the engagement type over here and what is this engagement for. And if at all the third party manager is all good with this, he or she can click on the start onboarding. But then if the third party manager wants to discuss it with the requester, he can always choose the discuss option and discuss it with the requester or also any other users within the system to seek some more information before taking any call whether to start the onboarding process. But for now, let us click on start onboarding. So once you click on start onboarding, as you can see here in the alerts, the new third party contact is created successfully, which means the contact which you have created for a third party has been created. The account has been created with the registered email ID and the IRQ process will be started. So now, once this is all done, you should be able to see the the third party and the engagement which will be following the IRQ process. So if you can see here, focus tech is the one which was requested by the business user, and it is for the engagement which is consulting. And this is how the record gets created after it is approved or it starts the onboarding process by the third party manager. So there is another way as to how a third party manager can uh, request a due diligence process on behalf of any other user. So for this, again, we give we can go to the list view over here, and in the list view, you should be able to see something called as due diligence request. You can go to all open, and from here you can again click on new. So once you click on new, this form will appear wherein you should be keying in the details for your third party engagement. And similarly, those five options which you have seen while requesting the due diligence on the employee center, those options will be again listed out here, whether you are onboarding, whether you are reassessing for a contract renewal, or you are offboarding. So so you can select the relevant type of your request, can provide what the priority for this, choose it, choose a third party. If at all you are doing it for an existing third party, else you can enter the details of the third party information over here and enter the engagement details and then hit on to save button. Let us try to create a new third party onboarding request. Say, for example, I'm selecting onboarding engagement, and this is where if it is an existing one, and say if I select the existing third party, what it will do is it will pre-populate the details of your third party and the engagement details if at all it is there. But then if not, you can, if it is a new one, you can simply say delete, scroll down, select the IRQ assessor. For now, I'll just select the user with whom I've logged in, and below I will enter the third party details. Say, for example, as Microsoft. Okay, I'll key in some address. So for example, I say USA, and down below, if you see what type it is, these are all the mandatory field. So say for example, this is for application and the name, say, okay, some dummy email address for now. What type of engagement it is. Say for example, security systems, and I say software. Again, I try to use the same address and use the same contact details. So once I fill the all necessary information, I can click on submit, and submitting this will take me to this page wherein I can say to start an onboarding process. So once I say start onboarding process, this will create the user, this will create the third party and the engagement, right? And the same thing will be now visible under your due diligence management workspace and under your IRQ processes. Give me a quick second. So as you can see, Rantech Soft security system is been created, and rest now the due diligence process can follow on from here. All right, going back to our deck. So to help you further and understand what we have discussed, we have pointed out some key resources over here. These links will be available with this video on our community portal. And the key takeaways, as you have seen, that any user should be able to request a third-party due diligence process using the employee center. And similarly, the TPRM manager can also initiate the due diligence process through the vendor workspace. Thank you for watching. Hope this session have provided you some quick insights to know how a due diligence process can be initiated.